Parishram safalta ki kunji hai. It's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about hard work from both sides. It was a great way of make it become even more iconic than it already was. It's been incredible the attention that the Melodi hashtag has had. Well, the chemistry between them is there for everyone to see. They are not shy of showing that. I mean, there's nothing bad in saying, well, we do get along. Nothing to take away from the toffees that are delicious, but I think it was the chemistry. You can deal with international affairs, you can deal with big economic agreements, but you can still be, let's say, light and human, and there's nothing bad about it. As I said, there's something so authentic in showing that there's friendship, a personal connection. We have lost a lot of years in the relations between Italy and India. I think it's a necessary evil to some extent. Of course, there are some circumstances in which I would never do that ourselves. When we meet with the President of the Indian Republic or the Prime Minister, we know that there's things that we don't dare do. There are topics on which we know that we will not agree with India 100%. There's things that, of course, will keep on being seen in a different way. For instance, the definition of aggression to Ukraine, it's still a war of aggression, and we know that there's someone that was the aggressor and someone who was the victim in this case. And that's something on which we will keep on having slightly different views. You name the country when there's an uncontroverted link between it. We are, of course, very open to all kinds of discussions on this, and this is why we are working together, for instance, on a project on the impulse of our two prime ministers on the financing of terrorism. Well, India is a surprise every day for those who live here, and there's good and bad surprises. It's a country where you cannot have mild feelings. It's 0 or 100.
Hello and welcome to HT's weekly talk show, The Interview. This is a story of the 3 M's, Meloni, Melodi and Modi. This is also a story of 2 prime ministers and Indian toffees, so to speak. Whenever India's Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, and his Italian counterpart, Giorgia Meloni, meet, they grab headlines. It is more their personal chemistry that captures public imagination, pushing substantive issues into the background. Therefore, even while the joint statement by the 2 countries was important, what went viral were the toffees that Mr. Modi had carried all the way from India for his Italian friend, quote unquote. What is it between the 2 that makes news? Why the toffees? What is the chemistry? And how and why the overpowering connect? Is it only a bilateral relationship or a meeting of minds? Too many questions, but very few answers. We delve into this and much more in our conversation with Aurora Rusi, Deputy Head of Mission, Embassy of Italy in India. So let's listen in to Aurora Rusi and her take on the relationship in this edition of HT's weekly talk show, The Interview. Welcome to the show, Aurora Rusi, and thank you for being here with us.
Namaste. Thank you very much.
Let me begin with what is making news. And let me ask you, what do you make of the toffee diplomacy of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the melody between the 2 prime ministers, yours and ours?
Toffee diplomacy is a nice expression, I would say. I wouldn't, of course, reduce it to it. Actually, I would consider it more like the cherry on top of the cake of something that we've been working on for some years now. I should mention a sentence that was said during the visit of Prime Minister Modi in Rome, and it was, I had to note it down because my Hindi is not so proficient, Parishram safalta ki kunji hai.
That was one of my questions during the interview.
Sorry to anticipate that, but no, it's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about hard work from both sides, New Delhi, Rome, working hand in hand, and of course the good relation, the good personal relation between the two leaders has helped to make things happen, if you want, at a faster pace, and we can't but rejoice this moment of Indo-Italian relations.
You know, while you have added a serious note to this, but let me come back to the toffees. And while the toffees have grabbed headlines, isn't it a fact that the Melodi coinage was actually your Prime Minister's brainchild at the climate summit? Our Prime Minister just added the toffees.
Well, he added the Toffees, but I'm still trying to find out whose idea exactly it was, because I think it was a great idea. It was a great way to make it become even more iconic than it already was. Ever since I got to India, it's been incredible the attention that the Melodi hashtag has had, and the kind of attraction that the figure of our Prime Minister and the relation that she managed to build with the Indian Prime Minister is center stage. If I may tell an anecdote, we were a couple of months ago with a delegation from Italy, and there was in the delegation, one of them was a lady that may have resembled our Prime Minister. We were taking them to the Red Fort, and people were stopping her to take selfies because they thought it was Giorgia Meloni. It has worked. The sparkle was there, and then we managed to use it in the good way to make Italy and India be at center stage once more.
Why is it that the Meloni-Modi meetings make more news than any other meetings our respective prime ministers have had with other world leaders?
Well, the chemistry between them, if I may call it this way, the good relation is there for everyone to see. I have seen my prime minister on other occasions with other leaders, and she is very charismatic, just as your prime minister is. The two of them together, it's in a way explosive, and you can really see that there's a personal connection that leads to a lot more. We are very lucky at the moment because with the leadership, we can make some more things, a lot more things happen. It is actually genuine, it's actually authentic. When we saw the video, it's really there. It's two people that come from very different environments, to very different worlds. Still, they show that they get along and they have something in common, and they are not shy of showing that. I mean, there's nothing bad in saying, well, we do get along on a number of things.
To put it bluntly, is it a gender issue that has brought this relationship into focus? In other words, were your PM a man or ours a woman, this perhaps would not have captured so much attention.
Maybe. I'm not sure about it. I can't say. Our prime minister, she got very well along with the new Japanese prime minister. It's two women, and that has caught as much attention. So I'm not sure this is the right key to it. But definitely what strikes me personally is to see two very different human beings. They come from different backgrounds. I mean, it's two different generations still getting along this much. So there's something more.
But you know, with the Japanese prime minister, sure, you're right. But somewhere, the Modi-Meloni relationship grabs headlines.
Yeah,
that the others don't.
It was the first of its kind. Definitely in our case, it's the first time that we had so much attention from social media. Actually, it was quite hectic at times. So I agree with you. That's been maybe the first of its kind, and this is why it grabs attention every time it happens. I mean, we wait for the visits or the meetings that they have because we want to see how it goes, and it's always the same way, fantastically.
So, talking purely objectively, or looking at this little objectively, what do you think has captured the people's imagination the way it broke the internet? Was it toffees or the chemistry?
I think it was, well, nothing to take away from the toffees that are delicious, but I think it was the chemistry. I mean, it showed once more that You can deal with very serious issues. You can deal with international affairs. You can deal with big economic agreements, but you can still be, let's say, light and human, and there's nothing bad about it. As I said, there's something so authentic in showing that there's a friendship, a personal connection, and why not playing a little with it? I mean, we also need some lightness in these times.
I'm going to push this a little more.
I'm always a diplomat, so I don't know how much we can push it.
Would you see this as a turning point in the bilateral relationship?
Well, not just only exactly the Toffee diplomacy, but definitely 2026 has been a turning point. I think that many of you know we have lost a lot of years in the relations between Italy and India. Then we had a new start in 2023 when our Prime Minister came to India twice.
For the Raisina dialogue.
Exactly, and once for the G20. And then the relation has been building up. What has just happened on 20th May was a turning point. We enhanced our strategic partnership. We started in 2023 with a strategic partnership. We managed to push it to special strategic partnership after just 3 years. It's the hard work that's there. So yeah, this was definitely a turning point that leads to much more to come.
Would you agree that in one sense, the Toffee diplomacy, the chemistry between them, pushes substantive issues in the background?
First of all, what has happened with the, let's call it Toffee diplomacy, has been the building up of a new kind of trust and confidence between the two countries, which leads to a lot of other things. Leads to cooperation, industrial cooperation in the field of innovation, science, AI, culture. It brings to a new kind of trust in each other, a new kind of relation. It's at another level. The two prime ministers announced that we are going to celebrate the year of Indo-Italian culture. That's something that we had been missing for a lot of years. So the time is now, and it's thanks to Toffee diplomacy and everything that comes after.
But it doesn't push the issues in the background? And the Toffee diplomacy takes over and the personal chemistry takes over?
No. Actually, the personal chemistry is like, it's something that helps us. Actually, it's been the other way around. We have the personal chemistry, fantastic. And thanks to their impulse, things are getting done at an even faster pace than we imagined. Between 2023 and 2026, just to name one, we had our Deputy Prime Minister, who's also the Minister for Foreign Affairs, who came to India twice. I've been in diplomacy for around 20 years, and it's not so often that you see twice in the same year, 6 months after another, 2 visits in the same country. I mean, you need a lot of time to do that. Our Deputy Prime Minister found time to do that because we attach huge importance to India at the moment, and we do this because we know that there's an impulse that comes from the top, and we are all on the same page on this.
And now your Prime Minister started using not only Hindi words but full sentences.
Yeah,
Parishram safalta ki kunji hai, to quote her. What do you make of this?
We thought it is very considerate and thoughtful to practice on a sentence, which is actually a sentence that makes a lot of sense in the context of what we are doing with India. So it's an inspiration, it's an encouragement, and it's also a way to show that we are committed. We are there. We really want to work hard on this relation we have with India at all levels, starting from, of course, the leaders, and then going to all of us who are here in India, or our colleagues, diplomatic colleagues who are in Rome.
All of us, you yourself,
of course,
speak Hindi, and you are working on it.
I'm working on it. मैं हिंदी सीख रही हूँ.
How far have you reached?
Well, my teacher is very generous, and he says that I'm doing very well, but it's just very short sentences. But I think it's an amazing language and an amazing way to also to approach the people. It's a game changer. So I really understand why our Prime Minister chose to use a sentence, because to me also it's been the key to a lot of very good meetings with people, just showing the interest and using some Hindi in that. But it's a long way to go.
You know, when Mr. Modi popularized the beer hug, so to speak, he was criticized. In fact, there was initial discomfort, but now the hug is something which is a norm. What would you say? Should hugs and toffees replace formality and a handshake in diplomacy?
Hard question to reply to, because I still believe that formality is part of the job. But if it helps to bring people closer to diplomacy, if it gives a better understanding of what it really is to deal every day with foreign people and a foreign government, then why not? I mean, let's be human. There's nothing bad in it. So, of course, there's some things that I personally have troubles in giving away. Some formalities I personally like, but that's my view. Other colleagues, maybe younger generations as well, they would think that it's not so necessary to keep some formalities on. Anything that helps to bring people closer and make people understand why it's important to have diplomacy at work when everything is going not the way you want, then please, let's use hugs, let's use toffees, and let's use all the tools we have. Nothing to be ashamed of, indeed.
Yes, but Mr. Modi seems to have turned the definition of diplomacy on its head. And short of backslapping, it's become more physical. So, as a seasoned diplomat, how comfortable are you with this changing definition?
I mean, we can adapt to it. Nowadays, everyone is more accessible in a way. I think it's a necessary evil to some extent. Of course, there are some circumstances in which I would never do that ourselves. When we meet with the president of the Indian Republic or the prime minister, we know that there's things that we don't dare do. Everything needs to be done in a considerate way. Cannot replace it in my opinion, but it doesn't make me uncomfortable. It's good to see that there's a way of connecting that goes beyond just the words and the formalities.
Okay, so the changing definition is acceptable?
I mean, I'm changing definition. I don't know if it's a definite change, but I think it needs to adapt to what we're living here. We adapt to times. I don't know if the definition will shift forever, but for the time being, it's a good way of moving forward.
Between Italy and India, it seems to be shifting.
Yeah, shifting and going the right direction. So
now coming to substantive issues, what has this visit achieved? And more importantly, what have been the gaps? What would you have been happier seeing?
So first thing we achieved that we both deem very, very important and substantive is the elevation of our strategic partnership to special strategic partnership. In just 3 years' time, we gave a good acceleration to the way that India and Italy work together. The two prime ministers agreed on establishing a mechanism to monitor the way that things are going. So how many actually meetings we are doing, how many agreements we are actually closing, how many contracts we are bringing. So that's just a few things that we will be monitoring even more closely than what we've done so far. The objective of reaching commercial interchange to 20 billion on both sides, that's something that's been announced and formalized by both of them, which means that thanks to the trust that has been built, we are going to have more from contacts we will pass to contract. We are ready to invest in India. India is investing in Italy as well. It's both ways. We have a very complementary economic systems. So you have, of course, the critical dimension that is amazing, and technology. We have the experience of family business that turned into industrial realities. It's something that we can make work together. What were the gaps? This time it was relatively easier. For instance, we have you must have seen the joint declaration that the two prime ministers decided to adopt. So working on that, the gaps, of course, came up there when you start, seeing each and every sentence that you will agree or not agree on. I thought it was easier than I expected because we managed to have a communication both ways that was quite honest. And I think it goes with the trust that has been built in the last years. when you have a mature relationship at every stage, the good thing is you can tell things in a frank way without anyone getting offended. There are topics on which we know that we will not agree with India 100%. There's things that, of course, will keep on being seen in a different way. Definitely, there are some things that we didn't manage to finish by 20th of May. There are some topics that we will still need to work on. Some kind of cooperations that have been delayed for X reasons, or things that there was just no time to take to a conclusion before 20th of May, but it doesn't mean that they were left out. There's dialogues, ongoing dialogues on consular, on cyber diplomacy, on a lot of topics that will happen from here to the end of the year. Some MOUs that were more complicated, more technical to work on, and that it wasn't possible to sign before the visit. That's part of the games.
Any critical areas?
I wouldn't say it's critical areas. There's some differences that we will always have on some topics. For instance, the definition of aggression to Ukraine.
I was going to come to that.
So for us, it's still a war of aggression, and we know that there's someone that was the aggressor and someone who was the victim in this case, and that's something on which we will keep on having slightly different views. With the overall idea of the necessity of bringing stability and peace to the world scene, because war is not benefiting anyone. On some more detailed topics like how to reform the United Nations, I mean, we have different positions, but that doesn't mean that we will not be talking to each other. Actually, from the visit, what also emerged was the need to cooperate at an international level, in international organizations even more. Differences will always be there. It doesn't mean that the relation stops because we have one thing on which we think in a different way.
But on Ukraine, your Prime Minister has said India can mediate and should mediate.
Yeah, I don't know if mediate is a word that can be used in a technical way or in a general way. So, of course, the pledge is to work for peace, to work for stability, to avoid conflict. There's a lot of people, of lives that have been lost, and this is totally unacceptable. For Europe, it's even more unacceptable. It's at our doors. We feel it as a threat to ourselves. We are kilometers away from Ukraine, but the European Union is there. I mean, we are the European Union. The feeling that you have when you are in Europe is that here or Poland or the Baltic states, that's Europe. So if something happens close to the border, it's happening to us. This is the feeling we have. Of course, India as a major player in international politics, they have a say. We also know that India has a position that's very clear. Multi-alignment is actually the kind of foreign politics that has been followed here. We do understand the reasons why, and we do put it into the context of what India is, where India stands in the world, its geographic position, the existential threats that India feels and that are there in the region. So, of course, we do need the help of the big players to put an end to what's not going well in the world right now. And one of these things is Ukraine. Many others, unfortunately, we may mention.
You know, while much is being said about this new direction the bilateral relationship between the two countries is taking, the fact remains that your president has not visited India since 2005, if I'm right. So against this backdrop, isn't this bilateral relationship achieving new heights, quote unquote, kind of exaggerated and overhyped?
Oh, no, I wouldn't say like that. I mean, things can work on several trails. There's no, how to say, contradiction between saying that we are at a very high political turning point and in saying that the next big step that we are waiting for is a visit by our President of the Republic, by the head of state. Actually, we do see everything working as a concurrence of good news going towards the right direction. So it's a turning point, of course, this year, but it's also a turning point because we are finally, we have in view the visit of our head of state after 21 years. We have no dates. We don't know yet when this is going to happen, but Prime Minister Modi ji invited, extending the invitation on behalf of India, and our president accepted. So it's not a contradiction. It's two different things for us, the political level, but also if you want, the ceremonial, the symbolic level of our head of state being invited here.
You know, the joint statement speaks about terrorism and mentions the Pahalgam attack. Isn't it too little too late? Because even while condemning the attack, Italy failed to name Pakistan, and that somehow rankles amid the current bonhomie that is now being displayed.
I don't see it this way. I mean, you may remember that our Prime Minister and our Minister of Foreign Affairs, they were among the first that condemned the attack. And we are a country that has experienced terrorism in different forms, but we are a country that has suffered terrorism. So we do relate to what happens. We stand with India, and we stand against all kind of terrorism that it suffers, whatever be the source of terrorism.
Yes, but Indians probably expected some friendly countries, along with Italy, to at least call out Pakistan at that point of time, which it did not.
Well, how to phrase it in a nice way? We do get the relevance and the sensitiveness that it has. But on the other hand, I mean, we do attach importance to the general equilibrium in the region. So until you have really the connection that sometimes is very tricky to prove, how can you blame and shame? I mean, the proof of the connection is not a binary answer. It's not 0 and 1. There's always some gray ground. So what we do stand against is terrorism in any form, because we've been part of that story. We have had it on our territory. We've lost several politicians and lives with terrorism. So of many countries, we definitely are the ones that can say we are with you.
But naming a country?
You name the country when there's an uncontroverted link between it. We are, of course, very open to all kinds of discussions on this, and this is why we are working together, for instance, on a project on the impulse of our two prime ministers on the financing of terrorism, because you need to tackle it from where it starts. So wherever it starts, we are trying to work on ways of countering the spread of terrorism, and their financial sources follow the money. This is the lead that we can do, the countering the sources of financing at any stage, at any level, will help us to address it.
You know, India's policy is to have multiple partners. India, USA on the one hand, and India, Russia on the other, close to both Iran and Israel. How does Italy see this? And in one sense, doesn't it replicate India's policy? For instance, your Prime Minister used to be a Trump supporter, but criticizes him when it is not good for Italy.
I think that you need to have it very clear what's good for your nation. So in this, I can say that the Indian government has it very clear that what's good for India, we will work with it, we will take it, because that's what will benefit our people. So in a way, there's nothing bad in having it very clear what your national interest is. Italy is a Europe founder, a very staunch supporter of European Union, of NATO alliance, and it's then again a matter of differences. When we have a difference, the mature relationship is what tells you, well, you know what, I don't agree with that. So there's things that we don't agree with, and we will not shy away from saying that. If things go wrong, you need to address it. So I think it's, I don't know if Italy took inspiration from the Indian way of doing it, but definitely also on this point of view, we can say that we are able to be at the same time in several forums without betraying, the fundamentals of our ideas, and with an attention to the needs of the nations.
So in that sense, it does replicate the India policy, or both countries are on the same page?
I think they are on the same page.
What about your Prime Minister being a Trump supporter and then later criticizing him when it was not good for Italy?
Well, it's not that we changed mind, or I mean, I cannot speak for her personally, but we know that she was able to communicate with the American president since the beginning. So they have had common grounds on many things. But once again, it doesn't mean that you have to say that everything is okay when things are not working the way they should. So we will keep on thinking that NATO is a very good idea indeed. We will keep on thinking that if we need to defend the Mediterranean Sea, we will send a ship to Cyprus, like we did with other European countries, etc. So I don't think it's a matter of turning or changing idea. It's a matter of seeing what's going on day by day, especially these days, and doing the right thing for your country.
So even while the bilateral relationship between India and Italy is achieving new heights, and there is a chemistry, as I said, Italy could go the Trump way if Mr. Modi at some point, or India at some point, is not good for Italy. Would you say that?
It's like asking me to read a crystal ball. So it's very complicated. For the time being, we know who's our partner in the Indo-Pacific space. We are trying to build an Indo-Mediterranean space. So, my 2 cents is that we will keep on working together.
How much is USA's untrustworthiness a factor in India-Italy wanting to expand their relationship?
The new US administration has come, if you want, at the same time. While we were already discussing things. If you see the timings, they will speak for themselves. I'll talk both on a bilateral level and at an European level, because we struck the deal on the free trade agreement with India in January this year. So there were things that were already in place. Of course, the sometimes unpredictable new course of international politics may have accelerated some things. I wouldn't say there's a direct correlation, because it's something that had been going on for years. The FTA agreement came after a long time. The relation with the special strategic relationship was something that we were working on since we started our relation, the strategic with India in 2023. So it's things that were on their way.
What are the major takeaways from the Italy calls India talent bridge?
So, it's two very complementary ecosystems. We do need Indian talent for several reasons, because it is very, the quality is very high. Italy has a problem in demography. We are a shrinking population. We have a shrinking and aging population. So we cannot do without new energies. And especially when the new energies come with such high quality from India, it's something that we need to work on and keep on doing. In the visit, there was one of the agreements that was signed was on the mobility of nurses, for instance. We badly need that. We badly need nurses in numbers that go on the tens of thousands. We do need this kind of cooperation, this kind of talent mobility. Of course, it's a long process. It goes through the learning of language, which we can still do a lot more about. But it's something we are working on.
On the Strait of Hormuz, what are the major takeaways? The joint statement, as every joint statement is prone to, underscores the need for freedom of navigation, as your Prime Minister said.
Yeah.
Are there any specifics on this?
We will do all that in our power to promote and to protect freedom of navigation. It's something that we will keep on monitoring closely. Half of the world trade passes through straits, and we are a maritime country. So together with India, we are very careful on freedom of navigation. We cannot work without it. It's one of our prerogatives. We are maritime countries, both of us. So for us, that's I wouldn't say a non-negotiable, because a good diplomat never uses the word non-negotiable, but it's definitely one of the sticky points in international affairs right now that we need to address carefully. And we know that with India, we find a good partner to do it.
And finally, what are the next steps that both countries need to take this relationship forward and shift focus from toffees and chemistry?
My ambassador always mentions a very good catchphrase, which is we need to pass from contact to contract. So one thing is the economic aspect of this relation, because you do business with the people you trust. If you don't trust me, you're not going to do any business with me. So now that the trust back there is there for us, we can move on the business. So we can expect more in Italian investments in India and vice versa. We can expect bigger co-production, joint ventures, bigger names of Italian industry, for instance, that will definitely come to India, and we do expect also the other way around. We may also expect, and this is our wish, to have a deeper knowledge of our country. So let's move from the Toffee, from the relation that's very important between the two leaders, but let's take advantage of it also to explain a bit better what Italy is, going beyond the stereotypes. So we will keep on promoting our country, also to allow Indians to discover maybe something that they don't know about Italy. We are the second largest manufacturers in Europe. Everyone looks at us as if we are making up numbers. No, we are not. We really are. We are not only famous for the usual suspects, the fashion, the food, the furniture. That's something that's very important, and we will keep on working on it, because it's the first door, the first access to our country, but it's not the only one. So we will try to surprise India with the many more things that we can work on.
You said you would like to surprise Indians with a lot that we do not know about Italy.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, point well taken. What are the things India can and needs to surprise Italians with? The aspects which they do not know or are unfamiliar with. Since you've been stationed here, you would know.
India is a surprise every day for those who live here, and there's good and bad surprises. There's it's a country where you cannot have mild feelings. It's 0 or 100. What I believe that many people in Europe don't know is how diverse India is, how diverse their languages and then their culture is. You have an idea of India, and it's stereotyped Bollywood idea of India, but the India that I live in New Delhi is completely different than what my colleague in Kolkata or in Bangalore or in Mumbai live every day. So what I believe that we should learn more about India is how this diversity stands together in one country, and how fascinating it is to see how many things live together at the same time, be it religion, be it language. Language is something that really shocked me, knowing that 22 official languages are there. This country, you have the biggest diversity that I've ever seen. It's a huge country where you can do from the Himalayas to the Andaman Islands. When you are this much, it's very impressive to see that you manage to be India, one face, Bharat, and there's so much more to discover. So the diversity is something that I think we should learn more about you. Not just one India, but many.
So you think this relationship, the new relationship, the strategic relationship, this aspect has been missing and needs to be underscored, or what would you say? And when you did talk about the cultural ties.
This is exactly why we insisted, and the Indians were very happy to accept it, on promoting culture and tourism together at the same time, because it works both ways. We will be happy to tell you more about our country, but we are very keen to learn much more about this. So this is actually the occasion that also India has to show Italy the diversity, the several cultures that you have here, the very varied and very happy and colorful and complex religions. It's an occasion. Now it's time to build not only the trust between the two governments, but also the trust between the people. And you do this only if we get to know each other very much more.
So basically, projecting India or Italians or Europeans, understanding India beyond it being the country of the Taj Mahal.
Yeah, that's just one of the many wonders that you have in this country. So actually, when friends come and visit, we say, okay, go to Taj Mahal, but please go also elsewhere, because that's beautiful. It's fantastic, and we all want a picture there. But India is so much more. It would be a shame to think that you've visited India just because you were one night in Delhi and then one night in Taj Mahal. And I love it. I'm just saying that I love it. But there's so much more to see.
Aruna Rusi, thank you very much. Thank you for your time and thank you for this interview.
It was very nice to be here with you both. Dhanyavad.
Thank you.